Okay, so I always start these by asking if you've seen any of my typing sessions before, or how many you've seen before, or if you have.
Honestly speaking, I have not seen it. My husband is a huge fan. So he decided to give me this as a Christmas gift.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So does he talk to you about typology or type stuff at all?
Uh, does he talk about it? Yes, he does. It's he's a huge fan. A huge fan.
Okay. So if you were to self-describe, do you think that in general in life, and I normally don't ever start with this question because it's very self-reporty, but I just feel like starting with it. Would you describe yourself as somebody who wants to know first, who wants to act first, who wants to deliberate or decide first, or who wants to engage responsibly, like react, be ready to react first?
I act first.
Okay, so if somebody were to say, "Hey, you're invited to a party tonight," what would you need to know about the party before you decided whether you wanted to go,
My first answer would be yeah, sure,
without
and
knowing
then
anything about it?
ask for the information. Yeah, sure, but and
Okay.
then my questions come afterwards. I really overthink everything, but my I react really fast, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Be- because I try to give the person what they want to hear. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? How would you define the word truth?
Truth.
Yeah.
How would I find the word?
Define it.
Define it. Sorry. Um, yeah. Well, not a lie. Not a lie. Um, on the truth means a lot to me.
Okay.
I just always need the truth. I teach my kids that every day.
Okay. So if I make a statement like justice requires society to concern itself with its least fortunate members, is that a true statement, a false statement, or a statement that has no truth value?
I would say that's the truth.
Okay.
Can you repeat the statement?
Sure. It's a just society makes sure that its most vulnerable members are sustained at a minimum level of standard of living, something like that.
Oh no, I think that's false. Um, no, I don't think that's nice.
Okay. I think it's
Sorry,
nice, huh?
I had to think twice there. You see how I react first, and then I'm like, okay,
Okay. Can you tell me what you think justice is?
justice is well, fighting. I mean, fighting for justice. Not not revenge, but truth. There we go, truth and justice. That
They go hand in hand.
they go hand in hand.
Okay. Do you do you think that beauty is as objective as truth and justice in terms of art, for example? Like, is it as if you look at a given instance, you say justice was achieved here. You look at a given another instance, and you say this is expressive of truth. And you look at another instance and say this is a good song, better than most, or something. Are all those statements equally capable of being true?
Yes, it's capable of being true.
Equally capable. Each of those kind of statements.
This is a good song. No, justice, not equally. I would, I wouldn't put them, I wouldn't put them on the same level. I think justice is more powerful. I think uh, truth is goes hand in hand with justice. But this is a good song. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. So, I mean, what I'm saying is people can argue about whether a given outcome was just like people can argue about whether a given song was is good. Do you think in both instances one party is correct and the other one is incorrect?
I no. I think that this is a good song is one person's opinion, but justice is whether it is the truth or not. I think
Okay, so you're saying because there's no external thing to compare against that aesthetic truths can't be objective?
it depends what we. Well, if you give me a scenario with justice, for example, I think of things that have happened in this world. I mean, there are always two sides of the story, but then there's the truth.
Okay. Um, can you tell me what time of day is it where you are?
It is now 9:21:12. 12 minutes past 9.
Okay. Can you tell me a sequence of insignificant details comprising your day from lunchtime until now, from around noon or 1 until now?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, can you provide me a sequence of insignificant details in succession that comprised, that made up your day between about 1 p.m. and 9
That
o'clock now?
was that was insignificant.
Yeah. Would you like an example?
Sure.
So
Simple
I,
English.
I
Thank
got
you.
I got up this morning. I didn't go to bed last night. Never mind. I didn't. I didn't get up this morning. I made a video and then I started live streaming for a bit, and I played around on the live stream making jokes and stuff. Then I got mad at somebody and started arguing about something, and then I ended the live stream, and then I got this set up, and then I'm talking to you.
Okay, well, my day went like this. I didn't get much sleep either. Um, I suffer from really, really bad OCD and anxiety, so I struggle to sleep. But anyway, got up around 6. It's normal for me. Wrote a Dutch exam.
You
Uh,
wrote a Dutch exam.
I wrote a Dutch exam.
In other words, you're
Yeah.
gonna give it to students to take this test, like that kind of. You wrote a Dutch exam, or you
No,
or you, or you completed one.
well, I completed a Dutch exam. It's for my citizenship here. It went okay, I guess. And when I got home, well, it's New Year's Eve. Okay, so when I got home, I basically just did nothing. I smoked a lot of cigarettes. I drink a lot of coffee, and what else did I do?
Did you
That's
wear
I.
wooden shoes to your citizenship thing?
Sorry.
Did you wear wooden shoes to your citizenship thing?
No, I did not wear wooden shoes.
I hear that's big with Dutch people.
Uh, those damn clogs, I cannot. Uh, well,
How close are you to a windmill?
we're not very close to the windmills. I think about I think,
Like an
well,
hour drive.
yeah, hour drive. Everything's like an hour drive away.
How
There's
many
a,
how many tulips are there within a half acre square of your current location?
there are no tulips at the moment.
Okay, that's all the things I can think of about your
Yeah,
country.
I'm not that. I'm not that. That
Those are the only
long.
things I can think of about your country. That
Dear.
completes my knowledge of Holland. Except I do believe it's also the originator of hollandaise sauce. Regardless,
Very true.
um,
Have you been here?
no, I have never been there.
You should come. Well, tonight they have this thing on New Year's Eve where they eat oliebollen. It's like a big, basically a donut that's deep fried,
I do like
and
donuts.
and then they cover it with icing sugar, and that's how they celebrate the New Year's Eve.
Okay, you talked about being fretful or anxious. Can you talk to me about the sort of things you that run around in your head that you fret over that aren't really worth fretting over? You give them more headspace than you should.
If I have to go into detail, uh, it's gotten really scary at this point. I well, like I said, I suffer from OCD, and it's become really, really aggressive. And I'm currently I've developed a fear for foods, eating disorder, basically because I was very overweight a couple of years ago, and now I'm severely underweight, and I'm
When's the last time you've done psychedelics?
the problem with that is I wouldn't mind, but the feeling of not having control is what the problem is.
Well, Dr. Eric has a prescription for you. You need to smoke some DMT. Okay? There. I solved your anxiety and whatever problem, okay? Now let's figure out your type. It's a simple solution. Trust me. You cannot be anything but pleasantly stupid on DMT, and it lasts for a while. Both the pleasantness and the stupidity in a really agreeable fashion. So, okay. Can you tell me how many different ways you can think to say the same sentence? And the sentence is this: those people across the street have many large pumpkins in their yard.
There's pumpkins across the street. Hey, who put those pumpkins across the street? Wait, are those pumpkins? Who are those people? And what are they doing with the pumpkins? See, I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions. I'm not really giving
I'm
serious.
curious about that. So why are you turning it into a bunch of questions? Why are there pumpkins? Who are these pumpkins? What do these pumpkins think they're doing? The thing is, the idea is you go, okay, the the neighbors yonder exhibit a front lawn be bejeweled by large orange gourds. Like that would be
Oh my
saying it in a
goodness.
different way,
I would never think. Yeah, but gee, you are so technical.
Okay, well, okay, I'll give you a different sentence. How about this? I really like that soup. Tell me different ways to say that.
This soup tastes delicious.
Suit or soup?
Soup. He said soup.
I think suit.
No, not
Did you
soup.
say?
No, I said soup. Soup. Like,
Yeah,
chicken noodle soup like you eat when you're sick.
I almost asked the question again because I always question myself. I was going to say, I wonder what's in the soup. But this soup has way too many peas in it, and I don't like it. But
Is that a different way of saying I really like this soup?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not saying the opposite thing?
No, but if you had a, I was busy finishing my sentence. I
Oh,
said,
okay.
but
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can, but
I'm
please
being
finish your
recorded.
sentence.
I said this soup has a lot of peas in it, but it tastes. I like the creamy taste of it. I guess.
Okay, cool, fine.
Um,
Can,
would you like more
that,
sentences
that,
of this?
that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Can you tell me how would you describe your own relationship with task completion? Do you have a list? Do you like to check things off of a list and get them done, or do you
Yes.
procrastinate, or
No.
you don't procrastinate?
No, I don't. I have a list behind my kitchen door of everything. I've got a to-do list. I've got a weekly meal planner um, for my kids because yeah, and I've got um, a calendar. So I like to plan.
Can you break down the task of preventing the dikes from flooding into 5 steps?
No, can you give me a more simpler thing to
Okay.
do?
Can you
Thank-
can you explain the process of opening a window in exactly 5 steps?
Yes. I answer first and then I start to think, okay. Um, I look at a window, I open the handle of the window very slowly. Uh,
That
I,
doesn't make
I,
it an extra step. It just makes it a slower same step.
okay. I turn the knob at the bottom, that little thing,
Sure, that knob, that important
that
knob.
that little knob, and I open the window and then I let the fresh air in.
Okay. So you managed to open the window in 4 steps, but you got bonus of fresh air with your fifth step. So that's really making good use of your fifth step.
I had to improvise the last step.
Okay. What do you think about, in general, the idea that people's worth links to their utility?
That people's
Worth.
worth
WORTH.
links to their utility.
Yeah, their usefulness.
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, at this current stage, well, at this current stage, if I have to think about myself, I, I struggle to feel worthy, but I think that's so important.
Do you find it easy to feel useful?
No,
Do you think it's
I,
important to feel useful in order to feel worthy?
I think if you don't feel worthy, you don't feel youthful. Again, I think it
I'm
goes a
saying
little
I'm
bit
saying useful, right? You're not saying youthful, are you?
youthful.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
you.
not saying youthful. I'm saying useful.
Oh,
Being used for something, being useful for doing things or accomplishing things. Like for example, Rachel is useful because in one way she does the laundry every Monday. That's being useful.
yes. Okay, I get it. Um, wait, what was the question?
How much do you think a person's usefulness links to their worth or value, or how much should it?
I think it depends. I think the more you do, the more value you bring. The less you do, I mean, then you're basically useless, but you're not really useless. You're still a living human being.
What about just
But
the glowing value of just your presence? Isn't that worth something?
that is worth something for sure. I believe that.
But is it
That's
only
why
worth something if it's useful to somebody else, or is
no,
it
no.
worth
I,
something
I mean,
regardless?
I feel like I can definitely tell somebody how worthy they are because of who they are, not what they do. But if I have to think about myself, I feel useless and unworthy if I'm not doing enough.
I see.
Yeah.
If you have somebody in your life who you feel takes more than they give, does that bother you?
Yes.
And if you feel like you take more than you give, does it bother you?
Yes.
So everything has to be exactly even.
Well, I don't expect anyone to uh, to give me more, but I do believe that there's always needs to be a compromise. I don't believe that it needs to be 50-50,
Okay.
but compromise. Uh, there are certain things that one does more than the other, and that's okay.
But on balance, they should be about equal.
It's a balance.
Okay. Is that locked? No, it's not locked. Okay, Rachel's trying to get in. She's having a little trouble. Okay. Tell me about your. How many hours of sleep do you think you need a night?
Apparently, 8 hours. Apparently,
Apparently. In what way is that apparent? What-
people say
Okay, so
get enough sleep to be healthy. Get enough sleep to if you anyway get 8 hours sleep. Um, I don't personally believe that. I get about, I think, 4, and I'm fine. I'm good to go.
okay,
That's maximum. But apparently, you need more than that.
That is asking.
okay. So what does it feel like if you haven't gotten enough sleep physically? What physical sensations or experiences can you say? Ah, that's telling me I need more sleep.
Um, Feeling tired.
Yeah. What's
That's
what's
it.
the physical sensation of it though?
Uh,
Like
Physical.
describe it as an experience of the body.
I think it's just physically. I don't think it's an issue. Then I just tell, oh, well, I tell myself I need coffee, and then I need more coffee, and then more coffee, and I'll be fine. But my eyes kind of just like, if I sit still, I will feel really tired, exhausted. Or when I come home from work, is when I feel like, oh my goodness, I'm exhausted. But work is an adrenaline. So I only feel tired when I really, when I come home, when I'm relaxed.
Okay. What is the body physical sensation of the emotion of feeling sad?
It's a sad sensation. Gosh, I don't, the emotion of the body.
Do emotions get stuck in your body?
No, it's in your face.
Oh, they get stuck in your face.
Yeah, it's in your body, but I mean, it shows in your face,
Okay.
right?
Can you tell sometimes, like, gosh, I've got emotions stuck in me. I need a good cry, but it's just not coming out?
Yes.
Okay. So when you do finally get that good cry out, what made you cry? Was it like a sad TV show? Was it just sitting by yourself and having a moment? Or was it something that was totally minor, but it just triggered the straw that broke the camel's back and boo hoo hoo, here come the waterworks, or what?
When well, normally I would cry for everything. I very, very emotional. TV shows, sad song, meaningful movie. I'm in tears all the time.
Me too.
Recently, lack of emotion, but the feeling of sadness is kept inside. But normally, I am very emotional.
But I mean, the things you described making you emotional were things outside of your own self and life and experience. They were things you were observing, right?
Yes, things I was observing. Yeah, mostly that.
Okay. Which would you rather kill, a puppy or a kitten?
A kitten, it's got 9 lives.
Okay. What if you had to kill the kitten 9 times and the puppy only once? Which would you kill then?
Oh, shame. Do I have to kill?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're going to really regret it tomorrow if you don't.
Okay, okay. How do I have to kill it?
Well, you've got to drown it.
Oh, I couldn't. I'll drown myself.
Oh, well, that won't save the puppy or the kitten. They'll,
Okay,
they'll
okay.
be they'll be tied to your body. So if you do
Kitten needs
that, then you're just drowning all three of you.
kitten needs to go.
Okay, the kitten needs to go. Fine. So let me ask you some questions that are kind of like deductive reasoning problems. If some cats meow and some things that meow are named Lester, is it necessarily the case that some cats are named Lester?
Yes.
No.
Shit, man, that was a guess.
If only typhoons create tropical storms and all tropical storms ruin banana crops, is it necessarily the case that only typhoons ruin banana crops?
No,
Okay, correct.
we
Who?
weren't talking about.
What is tomorrow's yesterday's tomorrow in relation to today?
Today.
No, tomorrow's yesterday's tomorrow.
Tomorrow's, yesterday's, which is tomorrow's, tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
It's the day after tomorrow. Okay, what day of the week is 3 days before a week from Sunday?
Thursday.
Who is my mother's sister's son's sister in relation to me?
Your cousin.
You are correct. Okay. Uh, can you tell me an example of a time where you learned a lesson because of a highly intense but brief event? An example would be one time my dad yelled at me about leaving a cereal bowl with milk and cereal in it in the sink because of how cereal sticks to the side of the bowl. I never left it in the sink again after that because he was very angry. So that's an example. Can you give me something like that?
Sure. I will never put my dirty feet on the couch again because my mom threw me with a jawbreaker in the eye and I fainted. Never want to faint again, so I'll never put my dirty feet, jump with my dirty feet on the couch.
Okay, that's awful.
Was ter-
Your mother threw a jawbreaker at your head because you put your feet up.
No, well, I came from outside, and normally mothers in Africa grab something because they're lazy to give us smacks. So they grab something close to them and aim it and throw it. She got me in the eye.
Probably not all mothers.
Maybe not all mothers. She got me in the eye and I fainted.
I mean, I get it now that you explain it that she had to throw something at you because she was too lazy to grab a stick to hit you with. That makes
There we
perfect
go.
sense now. Okay.
It could have been a wooden shoe, but it wasn't.
And you weren't even in Holland yet.
Yeah, I
You
know.
already had a life experience with wooden shoes. How
They
wonderful.
they had clogs there. Hey, those things, they also flew by every now and then. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to tell you a kind of a story called the potato touch story. I'll try to tell it quickly. And I want you to
Okay.
see if you can give me a comparable story from your own life, okay? This
Okay.
is a story about one time when I used what I remembered and when I should have just used what my observations in the moment were telling me. Okay, so here's the story. Used to go to this restaurant called Norm's. I sat at the counter. I noticed when people ordered a meal and got the baked potato that the waiters would touch their potato with their fingers. They'd push it open to put the butter in. And I thought, if I order a meal one of these times, I don't want the waiter touching my potato so much. So I'm gonna, if I do order a meal, I'm gonna keep an eagle eye out to make sure they don't touch my potato. Well, sure enough, a week or two passes. I go back to the restaurant. I order a meal. And I remember I'm going to keep an eagle eye out to make sure they don't touch my potato. I'm watching this waiter the whole time I'm watching. And then somehow, surprisingly, my plate is in front of me. And I remember or realize that, oh, I ordered rice pilaf. I didn't get a potato. So there's no potato for them to touch. So what am I watching for? Because you had a choice, potato or rice pilaf, and I chose the rice pilaf. But I remembered having told myself over and over again, you make sure you keep an eye out for the potato touch, right? So I want you to tell me an equivalent story where you realized, doy, I should have observed this when I was busy remembering that.
What an interesting story. I was so into that.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I was really into that. That really did that really happen?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
see,
really
because
happened.
I cannot make up stories like that. I literally I I I can't just a real life scenario. Well, normally when I'm in a restaurant, oh, see, now I'm relating to your thing, but normally when I'm in a restaurant, I tend to look at other people's meals to see which one looks the best and then order the same one. But I do always tend to look at the chefs at the back there to see how they cook the food because some of them like how they handle the food, but I don't really mind how they handle my food.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you recall an occasion where you looked around at what the other people were getting and ordered something accordingly? And then after you got your food, you remembered, oh shit, I really like the meow at this restaurant. I always try to remember I should get meow when I come here, but I wasn't thinking about it and I got what I saw that person getting instead.
Yeah, yeah. Or that I should have gotten what that person ordered because I got the yeah.
But then why did you get the meow instead of what that person ordered? Is it because you got it before or because it just looked good?
No, it was my intention to get it. That's why I went to that specific restaurant. Like, for example, to get a steak medium to rare with chips and with a baked potato on the side, seeing that we got into that topic. And then I see these like curly sweet potato fries come past me and think, I should have ordered that.
In other words, you shouldn't have planned what you were going to get before you got there. You should have just decided in the moment.
Yeah, but then again, I just wait for the waiter to come back and order that on the side.
Okay. Do you frequently have a craving for a given dish or food, or wanting to go eat at a certain place, or is this just mostly hypothetical?
I frequently have a craving for sweet things.
Okay. So do you have like is there like a bakery that you go to get cake at or something?
Not anymore.
Did it go out
It,
of business
it,
because of
it's
COVID?
it's become my fear, and that being said, I suppress it, and that sucks big time
You,
because I love sweet things.
you know, if you're the type I think you are, you're supposed to be kind of thick. Just to tell you, it just goes with the type, kind of. Anyway,
I was,
let
I
me.
really was.
Well, there's
I,
nothing wrong
I,
with that. That's called happy.
I know, and that's what sucks is that I was happier, a lot happier.
I'm sorry to hear that you've become unhappy.
It's okay.
Do you feel as though you're more empowered by things you've learned in the past and moving forward, or more burdened by things that have happened in the past that hold you back?
Burden for sure.
Okay. So, do you relive bad memories, or do you
I
just
don't,
think about the realities of what has happened and sort of,
yeah, I don't relive bad memories, but I have a fear of reliving bad memories.
and to avoid that, you actively remember other things, or do things, or what?
Um, yeah, well, basically, do everything to not let it happen. Does
Had
that make
If you were to let it happen, would it actually happen?
that is the question?
I mean, do you actually have that detailed a memory of the thing you're trying not to remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a lot of specific things, like a lot of specific detailed memories you're trying not to remember?
Yes.
Okay. Um, Weird. Interesting. Now I'm confused.
Well, that's the problem. If you had met me before this whole thing, I was I was the happiest person. Gee, I
You were the total opposite.
I was the total opposite of who I am right now. I would bring I would have people here right now and just having a good time,
Okay,
full of food.
so what happened?
I developed this freaking intrusive thoughts, can we call it? Bad thoughts.
So
And
you
it
didn't
just,
have any DMT around.
sorry?
No,
You had no DMT anywhere.
she
No,
never tried it.
never tried it.
Okay, well, you need to do mushrooms or DMT or something. It's very clear that you've got what's called muddled head. Muddled head happens when you don't do enough drugs or you do the wrong drugs. One of the two.
I've got an addictive
That's
personality.
fine. Hey, that's fine. Addiction's never the problem, okay? It's specific things that are the problem. All right? Addiction itself is not a problem. I'm a recovering alcoholic, 8 years sober. I do lots of drugs. That's that's because addiction is not the problem. It's specific things. So what you got to do is basically get yourself loaded in a way that makes you recognize how hilarious everything is, and then that'll hold over for a while. It'll carry you over for days afterwards. You realize, oh right, everything's hilarious.
Gee, I used to be that person without the drugs. And I cannot remember when was the last time I actually didn't force a smile on my face.
Well, maturity, growing up means recognizing you need more drugs. That's something we all got to come to terms with. So, okay, regardless of that, so you're telling me that you've got these detailed memories. You shared with me one memory that was awful of having a jawbreaker thrown in your face. I'm sure many of the other memories are awful and traumatic as well, probably. So I don't really want to hear them because they'll make me sad. But can you tell me insignificant stories that aren't, that didn't have any major impact on you that you're not trying to forget, but that you're not trying to remember really either?
Of that I remember everything, but insignificant would normally lead to more negative stories because I do try and forget them
Okay,
because they don't mean anything to me. So
Positive stories too.
a
okay.
positive
How
story.
about this? How about something like this? Last night, Rachel and I, it was like midnight. We were hungry, and we went to go to Tommy's. And Tommy's is supposed to be open till 2 a.m. if you know anything about LA drive-thrus. But anyway, for some reason, it was closed. So then we went down Wall and we're like, well, let's try to go to the In-N-Out. And at first I thought, oh no, the In-N-Out's closed too. But it was actually Tops. And then we passed the Tops and we finally got to the In-N-Out. I could tell it was open because the line of cars all out in the street like always, doesn't matter what time it is. We waited in that line and we were rewarded by a delicious box of sumptuous In-N-Out burgers, fries,
Holy
and drinks.
crap. Yeah, but you know what? To me, that is significant. So you can't ask me for insignificant.
It couldn't be any less significant, the story. It's me and Rachel going to get fast food and finding one place closed and going to another place. There's nothing significant about it at
I
all.
love hearing, I love hearing your stories, though. Like, I'm going to remember this In and Out burger now. And then it's significant to me, too. I don't even know you.
But I want you to tell me a story like that. That's what I'm asking you to do.
Oh, gosh. Um, okay. I have I have a few stories. So again, I don't know if it's not very positive, but um when I was younger, I was always forced to go to church. And hey, we spoke about knowing when you're tired. I should have said when I go to church because I always tend to fall asleep in church. Very boring to me. I'm so sorry, but for yeah, I'm saying this online. I'm
That's
saying,
fine. No,
but
by the way, I have a very, very abbreviated version of the Bible that I made up that's much better than the fat one. It takes very little time to master the whole thing. So you don't have to go to church anymore. Go ahead.
okay, so for me, the tinier the better. Goodness, church was so boring. So the best part of it was when I got to nap on my auntie's shoulder. Nice, huh?
Did you sing the hymns when it was singing time?
I'm Catholic, so I had to go eat that holy bread, and then they told me to pray 7 times, but I would always sing songs in my head.
If that bread weren't Jesus, it would be cannibalism. Okay, so you got the whole Catholic thing? You got the whole like we're Catholic and do all this
Yeah,
Catholic stuff?
I was raised Catholic, so it was so boring going to church. Anyway, that's very insignificant, but I remember it because
Okay. Do you remember something from a lot more recently, but not that recently, like a week ago?
a week ago, insignificant. Oh yeah, so we went on lockdown again due to this crisis we're having now.
The crisis
Um,
is so
this,
alarming.
this crisis. So we had to shut down shop again, and yeah, here we are.
Well, I'm concerned you don't appear to be freaking out enough. I don't think you're taking this seriously enough.
Yeah.
COVID.
Oh,
I mean, people are getting COVID apparently.
apparently you say,
No, even
no,
more than before. A lot of people are getting it. Of course,
no,
it
why?
doesn't seem to really have any symptoms other than a cold, but that's not the point. We still need to make sure the whole world fucking freaks out anytime a
And
positive
shuts
COVID test.
down and shuts down. I'm so over it. That's why it's at the moment insignificant. I know it's serious, but gee, man, like I have to close the business. I know I'm smiling about it, but it's not a surprise that they have to shut us down again because that's what I guess it's expected. I guess, but it's
Unfortunately,
yeah,
unfortunately, countries seem to have had people in place whose job it is to do that, which is was surprising to me. Like, wait, we gave somebody that power? When did that happen? But apparently we did. So anyway, regardless of that, you're not happy about it interfering with your normal daily routine,
that's
understandably.
it. Yeah, that's true. I get what's happening is bad, life threatening. I get it. But the fact that I had to close, it sucks. On Christmas, you know.
Well, I mean, going outside's life threatening. So, I mean, it's like people want this world in which death is impossible. I okay, but you know, yes, you could lock everybody in a cage. Make sure
Yeah.
they stay nice and safe.
Yeah.
All right, so what type are you? You self-identify as an action type, and you seem very actiony, extroverted-y. Your SI doesn't seem like polar though. Your TI doesn't seem like polar, but it's not great. Your NE, not polar, but not great. Your TI, I guess I haven't really eliminated polar as a possibility, except you nailed that genealogy one, which seems like it would be pretty challenging for TI polar. So what am I left with here? If you're not NE polar, you're not SI polar, you're not TI polar, and you're okay. Let me ask you a couple more TE questions. Can you recommend some possible solutions for Jack? And this is the thing that Jack has had happen to him. He's carving a pumpkin for Halloween, but he's accidentally made one of the eyes too big so that it cuts down almost so it's touching the nose. He's not sure what he should do to fix it. Can you help him fix it?
Yeah, sure. Do I have to do it in steps?
No, just tell him what to do.
Okay, so I think, well, he can't really fix the hole, but he can add pumpkin to it. Like we could kind of glue it back.
So you're gonna graft off the severed organ, graft on the severed organ back onto the pumpkin, huh?
Yeah, I'll make a plan.
Make a plan. All right. Okay. Do you like making plans? Is that right?
Yeah, I will make a plan.
But do you like sticking with plans, or do you like to have the freedom to deviate from your plan?
No, we stick with the plan.
You stick with the
Or
plan.
if it doesn't work, then we try something else, but it will work.
Well, you remember what happened last time you stuck with the plan. You went to a restaurant, you ordered something, and then you realized you wanted curly fries.
Yeah, but then I ordered the curly fries on the side, remember?
But that wasn't part of the original plan. You're adding things onto the plan now.
Oh, I said it.
But you did not say when you went to the restaurant you wanted curly fries. You didn't realize you wanted them until you got there. You
Yes, but
you deviated from the plan.
yeah, but I'll make a plan to get those fries as well. I
Oh, so it's an additional plan. It's a separate plan,
yeah, yeah.
independent of your initial plan. You follow through on your initial plan. You made a new plan to take advantage of this new opportunity, and you're going to follow through on that plan too. You're going to order those curly fries, and then you'll be
Like I
completely
said,
happy.
and if the pumpkin, if it doesn't stick, we'll make another plan. We'll grab another piece and we'll use something else to.
I think you need to clarify that making a plan is the same.
No,
Yeah, but
I get what she's saying. I understand what she's saying.
on the side.
She doesn't need to clarify anything. We're fine. Um,
I wasn't sure if it was like a South African saying or like if general. I don't know.
No, no, no. I'm trying to talk about the pumpkin still.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
okay.
we make
Go
a
ahead.
plan if it doesn't work, but the pumpkin, this boy, what was his name?
Roderick.
No, it wasn't Roderick. It
It
was
is
another.
now, though. It is now, Roderick. That's his
Uh,
nick. His nickname's Roderick.
Brad or something. Okay, but anyway, I think it was Brad. But if it doesn't work, we'll use something else. So there's always a plan B, C, D, E, but it's going to work somehow, some way. He's going to be happy with his pumpkin.
So that's your accent's South African then.
It is? Okay.
I didn't try. I mean, I wasn't really trying to identify it, but now that you say that you're from South Africa, then I think, oh well, that must be South. Yeah, that's a South African accent.
Yes.
One time I rode on a plane next to a girl from South Africa, and I talked to her the
And
whole time about it was way back in the day. I was talking to her about apartheid. I didn't really care about it one way or the other. I was just like, so wait, what is you guys' arguments? Like, well, if we don't help them be apart, then they'll attack each other because they're savage tribes people.
oh my gosh. Oh,
It was
that's
hilarious.
that's why I married a colored man.
Well, you know what's good? Krugerrands. If you have a bunch of Krugerrands, you're styling.
Um,
They're like the coolest gold coin because they got that kind of reek of evil about them.
the red ends.
Kruger Rants.
Krugerrands.
Sugar rands.
You, you're South African. You don't even know what Krugerrands are. They're like the most famous thing from South Africa.
Namibian.
I'm Namibian.
Oh, well, whatever.
I'm from Africa, so
Africa's all one country as far as I'm concerned.
yes, I believe that. I believe that.
Okay.
I believe that.
What type are you though? You're a tricky trickster. I'm not sure what to do with your SI. You seem to not be SI conscious, but you're competent enough at displaying when I push on it. I would think possibly. I mean, my natural inclination would be to go to ESTP or ESFP, but I don't think your TI is good enough for ESTP, and I don't think it's bad enough for ESFP. My initial thought was ENFJ, but I don't think your SI is bad enough for ENFJ. I do think you're beta quadra. I don't think you're an INFJ, but you might not be beta quadra. You might be ESFP. So I'm not sure what to do with you. Let me see if I can nail this down a little bit better. How do you feel emotionally right now?
Actually, you've taken my mind off a lot of my sad emotion.
I am delightfully charming.
Yeah, you're keeping me entertained. I wish you were sitting here in front of me. Well, technically, you are in front of me, but yeah,
Digitally.
emotionally, I feel a lot better than I did an hour ago.
Okay. Can you say a sentence first regular, then sarcastic? The sentence is, why this will be the perfect ingredient for the stew.
For this, what? Sorry.
For the stew. This will be a perfect ingredient for the stew.
And what do I need to do?
You need to say it regular and then sarcastic.
Oh, okay. Why? Why this is a. Wait, what do I have to
This
say?
will be.
This will be a perfect ingredient for this stew or goulash or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, ooh, goulash. This will be a perfect ingredient for goulash.
Okay, now
And
sarcastic.
fantastic. Oh, well, this would be a perfect ingredient for the goulash.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's sarcasm. You got the pitch thing that happens there. You know, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
That's like that's the sarcasm tone or whatever. Okay, cool. You don't appear to be FE polar. I didn't really ever think you were. you're too expressive to be FE polar. So okay, could you possibly be FI polar? Possibly. All right, let me ask you the chicken or the rooster question. This is a true story. There is a chicken, a hen, a female chicken, a hen in England who was in a flock of hens, all female chickens, until one day she injured one of her ovaries. And from that day forward, she grew feathers like a rooster, started cock-a-doodle-looing like a rooster, and when hawks would come around, she'd stand up and go rah rah to scare the hawk away, and she'd even pull out worms and stuff and give them to her favorite hens, just like a rooster does. The question is, was this thing actually a hen or a rooster?
No, it was a hen.
Okay.
She got
Why?
her ovaries taken. She had ovaries. So does a rooster have ovaries?
No.
Well, then no. It was a hen all along. She's just an alpha. She's a boss bitch.
Okay. So that's a very deliberation style answer, and it's a very TI tool answer. So I feel pretty confident in calling you an ESTP. I and the thing is, you got almost all the TI questions right. You just didn't get one of them right, and I didn't really test it that much. So it's let me do a couple more TI questions. If if all dogs bark and I bark, am I necessarily a dog?
No,
If no dogs bark and I don't bark, am I necessarily a dog?
no,
If some people from Holland make hollandaise sauce, and all people who make hollandaise sauce love eggs Benedict, is it necessarily the case that some people from Holland love eggs Benedict?
also not.
I'll repeat it.
What? I mean, yes, some people do love eggs Benedict from Holland. Sorry, yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So your TI is pretty good. Have you ever heard the hats question?
No.
There's a warden. He's got a bag. It's got 5 hats in it. 3 hats are red. 2 hats are white. He brings out 3 prisoners and blindfolds them all. He has each pull a hat randomly from the bag and put it on their head. They're small hats. You can't see your own hat when it's on your head, okay? So they all have hats on. Now he unblindfolds the first prisoner and he tells him, you can look at your fellow prisoners' hats, and if you can tell me what color hat you have on, prisoner one, and you get it correct, I'll let you go free. If you get it wrong, though, I'll kill you, or you can decline to answer and things remain the same. So prisoner number one, knowing that there were 5 total hats in the bag, 3 red and 2 white, looks at prisoners 2 and 3 and says, I cannot tell you, warden, what color my hat is. So the warden says, fine. He unblindfolds the second guy. Second guy looks at the first and third guy and says, I cannot tell you, warden, what color my hat is. Warden says, fine. The third guy says, you don't need to take off my blindfold. And he tells the warden what color his hat is, and the warden sets him free. Well, what color was the third guy's hat, and how did he know?
Oh, of course, because the other 2 guys went before him, and the one guy wearing the hat that had to answer. Oh no, he didn't take his blindfold off. He didn't need to take his blindfold off. The third guy.
You speak truth.
And he knew what color his hat was.
Oh, yes, he did.
Did he blindfold them at the same time?
Yes, they all were blindfolded before they drew hats. He deductively concluded that his hat, the third guy, must be Mia because of some process.
Ah.
What color do you think his hat is likely to be, even if you don't know why you think it?
Well, 3 reds, 2 whites. I have no clue because we don't know in which order the hats went on.
No, but we do know the order in which they looked.
You said they were small hats.
Yeah, but they could see the other two guys' hats. They just can't see their own.
Oh, the third guy could see the other hats.
All of them can. You just can't see your own hat.
Oh, you just can't see your own. Well, then, of course, because he saw the others' hats and.
No, but he didn't take his blindfold off.
Fucking hell. I can't get this one.
Okay, well, let me just tell you right off the bat. It took me forever to figure this thing out. Delilah, my daughter, brought it home from her logic class, and she and I worked on it together for a long time. Finally, we figured it out. But he has a red hat, and the reason he has a red hat is because he knows the only way the first guy could have known what his own hat was is if the first guy had seen 2 white hats. Then he'd know his own hat was red. He didn't see that, so either the third or the second guy must have a red hat. The second guy knows this. So the second guy knows if he sees the third guy has a white hat, then the second guy must have a red hat. But the second guy doesn't conclude that, so he must not have seen a white hat on the third guy, which means the third guy must have a red hat. And he figured all that out. And he's betting his life on the fact that the first and second guy used deductive reasoning properly, but there you go.
Oh my word. So, you know what? The fact that I have to listen to this makes it so much harder. But if I had to be in that situation, I would probably be that guy guessing the hats and saying, I don't need to take my blindfold off because I know the color.
But you'd guess it.
Because I'm very visual, but I don't. Yeah, I couldn't get that one listening to it.
Oh, it's not an easy question. Most people don't get it. I don't get it. And I mean, it's like I wouldn't have gotten the amount of time you had for it. Delilah didn't either. She's an ESTP. I'm an ENTP. We're both TI tool, and I'm an NE-DOM. So it's a hard question. Okay, so yeah, I feel comfortable with typing you as an ESTP because you understood that process I was talking about as well as to, like, once I explained it, you're like, okay, I get it. So you have to, the thing that's tricky about it is you have to update what you know by taking the mindset of the second person after the first person's gone. And that's just not something that questions normally ask you to do, really. So it requires really, really out of the box thinking. And it's like it took me and Delilah forever to get it. And I'd like to think I have very good non-lateral thinking, but it's a tricky.
Yeah, I think you do too. I thought you were going to ask me at the end. I thought it was like a little listening comprehension. I thought you were going to ask me, so how many red hats were there, for example?
No.
Like, I thought it was going to be that easy that I just kept saying in my head, 3, 2, 3, 2.
No. If you tell me, let me try this thing. I want to see what you do with the answer for it. So I'm going to tell you a story, and then I want you to finish the story. But I can tell you the whole story, but I want you to go back and fill in some key details that seem to be missing. Okay.
Okay.
So the very short story is this: a man is at a pool party with his wife, and he walks from one end of the pool to the far end of the pool, and he sees something in the bush, leans down, picks it up, and goes, "Wow, look at this!" And then he walks in, takes it back to his wife at the other end of the pool. Now, you fill in some details there, because I'm curious.
The first thing I can think of was he picked up a shitload of money, like $100 bill. That for me is a shitload, okay? So, wow, look at this. Took it to his wife and said, look what I found in the bush. Should I ask if it belongs to anybody? Or what do you think? And then I would take her advice. So whether she wants to keep it, but then I'd feel bad
So now you're the husband?
because the husband picked up the money.
Okay. All right. So the reason I asked this question is because this is like the question, like you were just saying about asking how many whatevers. What I really want to ask you is, tell me about the pool.
Oh, the pool was insignificant for me.
Okay. So did you visualize a specific pool? Did you?
Yeah. So because you said he walked to the long end of the pool, I think.
Oh, yeah. He walked to the end of the pool, and then I used my hand to sort of show that it was that way.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of visualized this pool party outside in the backyard with a lot of trees and like kind of a forest going in. And he walked across the pool down. So it's a really long pool. It's like a rectangular shape.
Okay. So is this setting you're imagining? Is it based on an actual setting that you've seen before? For example, did you put a pool in a backyard you already know and call that
No,
your no? Did you take
no,
a
not
pool that
at
you've
all.
actually seen before and say, I'm using that pool as my base pool?
No, no, I just made a pool up and then he literally just needed to go pee, so he decided to pee in the bushes and that's why he found the $100 bill.
Okay, so you provided the specifics of what he found, and you gave a good justification for him going over there in the first place because the story seemed to need that. You visualize a rectangular pool, or is it not even that specific?
No, it's definitely rectangular and it's got stairs going down with a metal pipe,
Okay,
silver.
all right, cool, interesting. So yeah, I do think you are ESTP, and I can tell you that like that thing that just happened there is a really nice, I think, example or manifestation of SI ignoring. In other words, to make up your stories, you don't take things from your actual memories as starting spots to build your stories on, really. So when I tell that story, I'm picturing a specific pool that my parents' friends, it was at my parents' friend's house when I was a kid, and in their backyard they had a rectangular pool, and it was like it was the most pool party friendly backyard of the people we knew that had pools, and they had the most like it was the biggest pool. It had like the things you could sit in where you put your drink in it or whatever. So the adults had their pool parties there, and that's where when I tell that story, I'm imagining that specific pool, that backyard, the bushes. I'm imagining at the end of that pool, and where they're sitting is I'm imagining it being between the pool and that house. I'm picturing that specific house and everything. So in general, when I tell stories, or whether they're made up or whatever, there's always some element like that. Like, for example, I asked somebody the other day to finish a story where a man brings a peacock on a leash into a bowling alley. Well, I'm picturing the bowling alley that I used to go play pinball at as a kid, called Bowling Square here in Arcadia, very clearly as I'm telling the story. In every instance, I do that. I draw, like even my dreams. I dream dreams. They're set in my grandma's house a lot of the time.
Wow. So when you tell me these stories like about your pool and how the um for the adults and everything, I literally visualize your pool also, the way you explain it, without a memory.
You can't visualize that pool. You've never seen it before.
Yeah, but you just explained it to me, so I put puzzles in my head, trying to picture what you're saying.
Right. But see, that's also SI ignoring. In other words, no matter how well I describe my experience, you can't you can't generate from that code an equivalent image. Okay, it
I
doesn't
know.
it doesn't
And
work like that.
I try to put myself in your memory, in your situation.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I have a similar relationship to NI that you have with SI, which is whereas you have trouble sort of utilizing ideational resources like your past experiences in building these things, I have potato touch events where I'm paying a lot of attention to something that's not relevant at all because I forgot to notice that something changed here that made whatever I was thinking about irrelevant. It took me such a long time. Okay, when I went to Corey's house, my friend Corey's house the other day, when it was time to leave, I couldn't find my phone, and 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 then finally we just had to leave, and we called it eventually like a couple of days later to see where it was at. Well, in those 2 days in between, I kept saying to Rachel, we're going to have to go back to Corey's house and get my phone. We're going to have to go back to Corey's house and get my phone. When we finally called my phone, who should have my phone but Capillo? Capillo is Corey's wife's sister. She had my phone for some reason. So then we just had to go to her house to get my phone. But it took me a long time to change my thing that was in my head to realize we are leaving now to get my phone. And we are not going to Corey's house. Because I had spent 2 days saying we need to go to Corey's house to get my phone. I kept
Oh, wow.
trying to go to Corey's house and go, no, we're going to Capillo's. My phone is not at Corey's house. That's why I couldn't find it. She took it with her when she left.
You had to keep reminding yourself that, wait, you're going somewhere else.
Right. I'm
It's
not
not.
going to Corey's anymore. Right. So it's like, because the thing is, I had this whole thing planned. Well, we're going to be gone for a fairly long time. This is going to be a little bit of a tricky social thing to get my phone because last time I had seen him as I was leaving his house, I was very angry at his wife and yelling at her. So I was going to have to deal with that whole thing. So I set
Oh,
aside extra time to go there, but then I just didn't have to use any of that extra time. And it really, that whole errand, I was like, oh, wow, we're home so early. I was planning to get back by 4:15. It's only 3:15. How did we manage to do that? Again, Eric, you didn't go to Corey's house.
oh, but what a relief also.
I mean, it would have been kind of nice to see Corey too, but and Capilla
Mm,
is
that's
awkward because
right.
she's an ex of mine actually. That I
Oh,
didn't want Rachel to have to see somebody I once. I'm not ex really. She's just like you know. She once said to me. She said to me one time, "I like sailing," and I said to her, "Would you like another margarita?" It was that kind of relationship.
okay. Well, that makes sense. Well, a bit awkward, but hey, they've got to meet sometime.
I mean, they didn't have to at all ever, except for the fact that she took except for the fact that she shockingly, fucking showed up rolling drunk to Corey's house, but Rachel and I were already there. It's like Corey and Rachel and I were all hanging out. First comes in Liz, and she's rolling drunk, and then right behind her, and I just smoked a shit ton of DMT. So those things were super weird. And
Oh my
and
word.
and
Oh,
in rolls in Capilla, who's like blackout drunk, and she's got a bag of chocolates in her hand, and she's got one like smushed between her dirty ass fingers, and she's going, like, eat this, trying to like put it in my mouth. I'm like, go away! Oh my god, this is too weird. Why are you being so
everything
weird?
going in slow motion right now.
Yeah, it was strange.
Oh gosh. Oh man. Okay, well, that it doesn't sound too bad.
You're an ESTP. That's my typing of you.
I have a question though.
Yes, go ahead. Let me hear from your husband because he has his doubts.
Don't show that. I just
Oh,
asked the question. I have my doubts, yes. But first before the doubt thing, I'm just curious with the bigger and happy type that you mentioned. What type is that?
ENFJ, but she's not SI polar.
That's what I thought she was lately. But the TI with the TI questions, is there a way to test TI where you cannot guess the answer? Because I think she's guessing the answer.
I always guess the answers. I told him I act first and think after.
Oh, so you mean the ones you got right were you were just guessing?
Oh, some of them, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean that changes things then. The thing is, yes, there's a way to test the TI so that you can get past the guessing, but you have to ask a lot of TI questions and you have to ask them to explain why as well. Her TI seem, and this is one way in which people with not good TI can sometimes fake me out. If they answer fast and confidently and they're right, I'm assuming they're right for the right reasons.
And she's very confident in that. Trust me.
Okay, so then if you are not an ESTP, then you are the other thing I've been thinking is possible, which is ESFP. You're not an ENFJ because your SI doesn't work the way an ENFJ's does. Your SI works the way fifth slot does. You seem like an SC Dom. Your affect is very consistent with ESFP. Could be ESTP as well. And if in fact those TI questions you were just guessing, you're still going to get half of them right, probably, depending on the way the questions are phrased. But but the fact that you were just guessing, in other words, it didn't feel to you like you understood what that process was inherently that you're supposed to do, and that you were then doing it. That would be indicative of TI polar. So, what do you think about black and white thinking? An opinion about it?
Uh, it's either black or it's white for me.
What about gray things? Are they
Gee,
black or white?
they're mixed.
Okay. So, has anybody ever told you, listen, you can't have your cake and eat it too? You either get meh or you get meh. You cannot have both. Has anybody ever told you that?
Yeah, lots of people have told me that, but I think you can get both.
Okay, there you go. There we go. There's your answer. Thank you. Uh, is your name
Sure.
pronounced Jiro or Hero or what?
Oh.
Jiro?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, it's like, you know how if you, that word Gyro, it's pronounced hero, even though it should be pronounced gyro?
Yeah.
I thought this might be the same sort of thing. Anyway, Jiro, you're right about her TI. It's polar, and thank you for informing me of that. And I really need to be careful of that because I've fallen for it a few times. Usually I catch it before I need the help, but this confident wrong answer, which is actually the correct guess, for example, my intuition goes, okay, this person knows what they're doing. And I need to stop listening to that intuition and just realize that action types like to act. They like to provide answers. I've said before that a good FI polar test or a TI tool test is the rooster or chicken thing. In reality, I'm concluding it's a good deliberation tool test. Either FI or TI is likely to be willing to stake out an answer on the question, especially if they're SE. But any TI will do the same thing. It'll stake out an answer. See, if you were like FI DOM and then SE tool function, then when I ask you that question, you probably say, well, it really depends. Um, you know, I don't want to tell that bird what it is. It's not up to me to tell it that.
Oh my
And
goodness, I'll fall asleep right now.
and
Yeah.
it can be both and neither at the same time and always.
So when we spoke about the rooster and the hen, honestly speaking, so like I said, I act first, but I I said I the answer I gave, it being an alpha and all, um, the hen, um, I could have been wrong for sure. Like I wasn't 100% sure, but
There's not there is no correct answer to it. Okay, you can
so
argue successfully rooster. You could argue successfully hen under each of their respective frames, or you could argue that it depends on the frame of reference, and you refuse to answer it definitively one or the other. But
yeah.
any of those is equally valid as a response. So
Oh,
you can't be wrong about it. You just either argue one side or refuse to argue one side. Those are the only three possibilities.
okay. I thought there was a right and wrong answer, and I honestly could have been wrong, but I'm still going to say it anyway
Okay.
with confidence.
That is probably the most convincing thing I've ever heard in terms of convincing me somebody is TI polar. That you thought that you could be right or wrong about that question. That's very interesting.
Oh,
To me, I had not thought about this before, and this is sort of a new thing. This may prove to be indicative in a way that I had never even considered trying before. Like asking questions that definitely don't have right or wrong answers, and see if a person's concerned that they might be getting it right or wrong. That would be possibly a good way to test TI that wouldn't require me to worry about this guessing thing. So that's interesting. I do think you're an ESFP.
What about ENFP? Any chance?
I mean, there's just not enough ideation. It's even though English is English your first language? Is that the first language they speak where you're from?
yes. English is my first language. Yeah, it is. It was Portuguese, but now it's English.
Okay, your first language can't change.
Uh, hey, piss off, man. Listen, my first language is what I'm better at, right?
No, that's your best language. First refers to the order in which they occurred.
I'm Portuguese then.
Okay, so you spoke Portuguese. The first language you heard at home was Portuguese.
Yeah. So my family's Portuguese. We are raised Portuguese.
Were your first words, "Why the fuck aren't we speaking Spanish"?
My first words were "don't touch."
Okay. Um, all right. All right. Something about Portuguese makes me want to make jokes about it not being Spanish, you know. So, and what was your second language? English?
Yes,
Do you speak any African languages?
Afrikaans.
Oh, so that's like Dutch, kind of.
Yeah, kinda.
Because it was the East Holland trading company's doings over there, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. The De Beers. The De Beers were busy digging up rocks in Africa. Hi, Africa. We're the De Beers, and we're here to dig up some of your rocks.
To dig up the rocks.
We may expand our operation a little bit over the coming years, so just get ready for us to paternalistically care for all of you. I'm sure we'll do an excellent job
Oh
of it.
gosh.
Okay.
Oh,
Anyway, so yeah, you're an ESFP, and do you speak any African languages, like like that kind of stuff?
Xhosa. No, I don't. Unfortunately.
I wish I could speak that click clock language. That's like the
Yeah.
cool. If you could bust that out at a party, like you could speak it fluently, people would be like, "Wow, I'm impressed with you."
Yeah. That. Gee, it is
Even
impressive.
though you won't understand a thing.
Well, you'd bring a translator, but this would be the interesting thing. It would only translate into American Sign Language, and it would be that same guy who was translating that one thing in Africa who didn't really know sign language. Remember
Oh
that
my
guy? Do you remember that guy in Africa who they hired to
No.
be the sign language translator for some big speech? But he didn't know sign language. He was just making up random shit with his hands.
God. I didn't see it, but I'm not surprised.
We are not surprised.
That
We
guy
like
is my hero.
you are.
That's wing it to the max, man.
That guy is my absolute
My life.
hero.
My life winging it. I would be that person.
He went and got his ass hired as a sign language translator. And he was not deaf or hearing impaired at all, didn't know anything about sign language, and just did
But
shit like this.
listen, it's not his fault. You to hire people without the right qualifications to know sign language in the first place?
Right,
How
but
do
that's
they?
true. You have to have somebody who can check to see if somebody knows sign language if you're going to want to check to see if they know sign language. But you know what you could do? You could look on the internet and say, "Can you spell cat in sign language for me?" Because I can look at those ones right there. And if they can't
Maybe,
even do that, you should probably disqualify them.
maybe he learned a sentence before he went in.
Maybe he
Or
did. Maybe he had a faker sentence to get himself through the door. He spoke like one paragraph of sign language perfectly, and they're just like, "Wow, you're great," you know.
so much corruption there. He probably knew what they were going to ask.
You're thinking there. You're thinking. I
Yeah.
like the idea of him preparing a fake competency display that successfully lands him the job, and then he's thinking when he gets the job, "This is fine. I have 2 weeks. I'll be able to learn sign language in 2 weeks, no problem." And then it's like, okay, I've still got a week. I'll start learning it tomorrow. Soon. I'm gonna start. I'll get it done. It can't be that hard. And it's like an hour before he said, "Okay, I'm gonna try to cram." Oh shit, this is a lot of stuff. All right, well, I just, like
Wing it.
if he says I'm running for an election, I'll just be like, "I'm running for election," you know.
Oh, funny. Oh,
And
right.
he did, and that's why he's my hero.
I need to see this video.
We need to check it out. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, definitely not surprised. Definitely not surprised.
Okay,
Cool.
so I'm gonna stop this recording now. Okay,
Okay.
you want me to share it with you privately, or you're good in publishing?
Yeah, it's okay.
I can publish.
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you.